Rose, this is the first time I've dyed a full skein of worsted weight yarn. Oh, hi, goats. Me and Van Rose are excited to show you my worsted weight skeins that I've dyed. And so, welcome back to my backyard. This is a bit of a different angle because I didn't want to drag the table I usually use for filming out here, so I'm trying to use one of the benches. And as you can see, Van Rose also has some help being high enough for the camera. The other two bins I brought out of this size and shape and also the same contents yarn are under the camera, so we're sitting on my yarn. Fun fact. Hydrate. As you've noticed, my previous video, which hopefully is out by now, the previous vlog, I mean, was I did a lot more editing in that one. But since I'm also editing those time-lapse videos of me dyeing yarn, and I love doing that. Thanks for the kind comments on them. I have more of those planned. It's just a lot to do, to go from no pre-recorded and edited videos to two. So I'm gonna try not to edit this one or just very minimally. But I hope you enjoyed, last time seeing the portrait of him, which is almost complete, and hoping to have news about like that in sticker and chart form soon. But for now, yarn. So just treat this as like a podcast style blog where nothing's really cut out. It's just like, we just hang out and chat. So here is our first volunteer. I think this is a full skein, yeah. This is one of the four skeins that I'm hoping are some version of Vampire King, my red and black colorway. You always have to like pull it a bit to get it to lie flat after washing. I'm not sure if it looks red enough. I have trouble with tonals and this particular colorway. Like, I love it, but I'm just like, I don't know, does it look like Vampire King to you? It kind of does. It's a lot more red than my blue, almost like navy a lot of times, Cloak of Dreams, which is my other dark colorway, dark tonal. So it could be. But I'm really trying to find where the, oops, not as stable as he looks. Physically, not emotionally. Anyway, it's really hard to find like what this colorway is supposed to be and how to recreate it. So this is a fun journey. Anyway, hope you're enjoying seeing me create a bunch of slightly different, like black, navy, red, and purple, like really dark red and dark purple yarns. All these nice gothy colors. This is the other one that was in the same dye pan at the same time. I only have one dye pan that I dye things in, except the one I rinse things in, which is where during the dyeing, it's where the yarn soaks in soda ash, but it's also when I put everything away, it's the easiest to access, so I just pull that one out to rinse things. But Anyway, the same dye pan. Wow, the birds are loud. As in, like the same dye was in this, because I dyed them at the same time. So this is the other skein of that. Vampire King question mark. The Vampire King is proving very elusive, isn't he? Oh, I forgot. I'm wearing my new filet crochet shawl. I learned filet crochet for this and for other future projects. It's a grapevine shawl. It's a free pattern. I forget who wrote it, but I'll try to leave a link in the description. These two colors are from Boss Kitty yarns. This one is me. It's the Lover of the Sea colorway. So anyway, I would love to have a pile for my yarn that's still in these bags and a pile for the yarn that has been taken out, but I don't, so it's all just jumbled in here. Gently in the case of the yarn that I pulled out, like so. It's not going to get retangled, but organization is for when we're not filming. Ooh, I love how this turned out. It's very pink. I think this is supposed to be one of the Red Champion skeins. Oh, this might be... I think I ran out of the Chinese red color, like that's the dye color that that I had measured out, and so I was like, well, I have some fuchsia, which is like the red primary. Maybe if I just combine that with lemon yellow to make like more of a red, and or I may have actually done that on one of the Vampire King batches. I did them in 2 batches of 2. But anyway, this I love it, but it's very pink. So, like, I'm not sure you can even tell how pink this is. Actually, it looks a bit more vibrant on camera, but not much, honestly. So, yeah, this may not be what I was shooting for, but it still looks great. The trouble with dyeing in relatively large batches is that it's hard to get the soda ash to really glom onto the yarn. Like one thing is that it floats, so like there's enough room in the pan, but it just won't stay down there. So it floats on the top of the pan instead of sinking down where all the soda ash is. So I did put something on top of it for the first batch, but that something was the pan that I needed to use as soon as that batch was done. Then I put the lid of my big Tupperware bin that I keep all the things in to at least keep the yarn at the top of the pan instead of rising up, so maybe the rest of the yarn like is underneath. So like the highest point that the yarn can be at is at the top, so some of it has to be in the water. Hopefully that made sense. And I was hoping like maybe all the heat and soda ash steam, if that's a thing, could help just like prepare the yarn. But I think that's one reason why it's really hard to get as much coverage as I would like. Like there, it's just hard to get the yarn to the dye to stick on the yarn, which is, you know, it's part of the look. This is the other skein of Red Champion ? It is a lot less red compared to the whole skein than the other colorways, the other versions of the colorway I've dyed, like where the only black section is really down here. And it's a lot more pink, so yeah, I mean, we'll see how it looks when it dries. Maybe I can create like one of these and just lay it flat for my yarn to rest on, because the bench is kind of dirty. Brake for airplane. Also coffee. I have my New Zealand mug with all the sheep on it because I chose this one because I've been watching a lot of tiny house YouTube, and guess what my future plans are now. Much as I love this house, yeah. And one of the really cool, I guess my favorite series about different tiny homes is Set. It is located in New Zealand. It's, living big in a tiny home. So, in honor of that dream, I also have 2 different sparkling waters out here because I didn't know if I'd taken this one out here, so I got a second one. Hopefully you're drinking coffee or something good, you know, tea, sparkling water, and have a project while we talk about yarn. Next, oh, this is a batch of minis. Looks like Muppet hair, but it will eventually, it's a tassel. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to like stretch out each of these skeins individually. There are either 8 or 9. 8. I put 2 of the zip ties on the ones that have 9. So yeah, these are for the workshop that I'm going to be doing, where I'm at the in-person event where I'm teaching a simple lace stitch and talking about, like, it's a pagan event, so I'm talking about how I incorporate devotion and spiritual witchy stuff in with my yarn and crochet practice. So yeah. I think this is the other batch of Red Champion, and it looks more like what Red Champion tends to be. Like, it's more of a red instead of a pink. And we do have some of this lovely purple blending in between the red and black, but it's not as pronounced as in the other one. It was kind of cool. I think it's on some of my first Red Champion bases. There's kind of an orange effect between the red and black. I don't know if that was the base or the way I was mixing the dye. by mixing I mean on the yarn. Like I would kind of combine the colors like this. So there'd be parts in here that were red and parts that were black and parts that were kind of a blend in the center of the skein. Just give it a good shake. Oh good, I was like, what is this tiny loop doing here? Is it part of the things that tie around the skein to like keep it from getting tangled? Like this? But no, it was just a weird thing. Weirdly positioned strand of yarn. One nice thing is that once it's dyed, I can sort of tell if a strand is on the wrong side, if it's like red when this side is purple. Thought I was getting bitten? I don't know, honestly. Anyway, these are my 2 yarn mops. You can see me mopping in action if you go look at the yarn dyeing video that I'm not sure if it's out yet as you're watching, but it's certainly not out as I'm filming, but anyway, it will be soon. It will be soon. I love all the purples that happened in this game. I was dyeing at least Vault of Inanna, and obviously something red, probably black as well, so that all combined to make purple. The Vault of Inanna, of course, is my blue gradient colorway. Ooh, this one needed minimal shaking. That's nice. This lovely kind of speckled emerald. I probably shouldn't worry so much about full coverage because like my yarn mops that I don't worry about get covering up all the white on the yarn just have this awesome look to them. So that is a nice lesson for me, and like as I said before, it's part of the look. It's, you know, handmade, artisanal. Admired by tiny goats. Oh yeah, if you wanted my slime green Abyssal Queen yarn, but you prefer worsted weight, you're in luck. Dyed 3 skeins of it this time. I hope that this is... I tried to get it as close to like that bright slimy lime green as I could. I mean, it's good. It's easy to be critical of your own work, but I actually do love this, and like I love all the different shades of green as it goes dark. Like a kelp forest. The green yarn mop I just showed was mostly from this batch of the slime green Abyssal Queen yarn. And the second one, It may look amazing that I can. Well, I think that was. I thought something was touching me, and I think it was just this. Okay. It may look amazing that I can get from like the semi-tangled mess to a much more like smooth skein. Um, this or something like it. It it is very nerve wracking when I'm like untangling it and hoping that it will actually untangle. I mean, I've done this a lot by now, and I have done like a tighter um, set of ties on the yarn in the washer. It doesn't really make a difference, so I thought less work would be good, and then like when it does come out of the yarn, like first I'll do the like shake and pull and the old shake and pull and and if I need to, I can get my wide tooth comb that I just got from a drugstore and comb the yarn. Although I might not have to do that as much with the worsted weight. I really have to do that with fiber, with fingering weight. That's the one that seems to be much more sensitive. It's like if you look at it funny, it goes. I will tangle now. Since there is an airplane, I may as well take a break to hydrate. Actually good, I brought both of the sparkling waters out because that one's gone now. The old shake and tug. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to gently comb this to just get some of the last bits of like, not exactly tangling, but sometimes the yarn just like wants to arrange itself in loops like that, and I'm like, no, I want you to dry in straight lines. Pardon me? This is falling off. I love the color. I don't love the fact that it almost looks felted into a slab. I don't think it is, but like, wow. Oh, that actually looks a lot better than the other one, honestly. It's the same amount of mini skeins, 8, but it fell into it to their own like skeins a lot easier. This is another set of supplies, I guess, for the workshop I'm doing. I dyed a bunch of black and red and like blackish red and reddish black, so people can just look through them and choose one that they want to use for the workshop, and that way they'll have something from me that's like, look, this is some of Thorn's yarn. Tell your friends. Business reasons, not the only reason I'm excited about this, but like it is one thing I remind myself of when I'm kind of worried about will my business succeed. So yeah. Anyway, here's some of the red skeins. Very vibrant. Stop holding hands. I love how these have a bit of character with like the spots of darker red. Then I guess the same could be said of like all these white spots. They just add this story. And the second group of 8 was dyeing 25 of each, basically black and red, like 2 groups of 25, so 50 total. It sounds like a lot, but with mini skeins it's so easy to dye as many as you want in one batch. So as long as it's one color or one colorway. And I think these are the blackish red and reddish black. Oh no, these are not the mini skeins. These are more of the Vampire King. He keeps sending me his yarn. Anyway, I already said I'll marry him. Gosh. So yeah, the nice thing is this came out pretty consistent with the other skein, I think. The other batch of 2. Where is it? Under the pile of yarn. Yeah, this is from the other batch, and like, yeah, they look pretty similar. So I could consider these all one colorway, I think, or collection. That's what I say because I don't want to. I want to give people the idea that it's a related family of colors, but not necessarily all the same exact, because that's not how I dye. But then I basically think of them like colorways. But it is nice to know that whatever they are, I think they're the same. Okay, can y'all threads decide which side you're on? Okay. Here's the 4th of those that I did. And the last. Aha, here we have another 3 skein bag. I used to only put everything in each skein in like its own mesh bag, but I ran out of bags, so now I'm just like, at the point of washing, it will no longer bleed onto each other because it's had the marinating phase and everything is set for the past 24 hours, so sometimes I even put 2 different colorways in one bag. Scandalous. Anyway, this is the first worsted weight vault of Inanna. She is the goddess who is kind of in charge of my business. So I've been asked, speaking as a pagan, I've been asked to keep this colorway in stock. So it's exciting to have it on my new, not exactly base, but like my new weight of yarn. And I love how this came out. It's all the different shades of blue. To me, blue is her color, so blue will always, like, several shades of blue are kind of make me, want to cry and just like feel things because they make me think of her. So I put all of that into this collection. I especially love the middle tones of blue. Now in worsted weight. And this worsted weight is for the website, so it's for y'all. So the only thing that isn't for y'all, unfortunately, is the mini skeins, because that I'm showing right now. Well, not right now, but earlier, because those are going to the in-person event, the workshop. Anyway, this is the last of the 3 Vault of Inanna skeins. One thing that was pointed out to me, like, you know, I I chat with my gods during my day, so like one thing that was pointed out to me while I was dyeing yarn was that actually having some white in this colorway, like some of the bare yarn, kind of looks like a windswept cloud effect in the sky, so it's not actually a bad thing to have some white. And my yarn is stuck on my ring. I do agree with that. Actually, it just makes this even more gorgeous. Like, I love that bit right there. There. If I trick it into thinking my face isn't there anymore, it will actually focus. And there's another bit. Trick my camera into focusing, just like my brain. The ADHD joke. Sheep coffee time. We might be done. Let me check for any other yarn bags that got lost under this beautiful pile. We are not done. I think this is the last bag though. And once again, it's the mini skeins. And remember how I said I thought this was the blackish red and reddish black? Or I thought a different thing was? This is. So I got bored with, after dyeing 16 mini skeins all the same color, I was like, you know, I'm kind of bored. I'm just gonna, I will dye them mostly red, but I'm gonna put a little bit of black in and just see if that changes the tone. It maybe makes it a bit darker, more muted. Yeah. And that's why these have 2, so that I could easily tell at a glance that it was 9 instead of 8, so I would dye the same number and not like grab both the 9s for one color. Yeah, that's definitely a darker hue. So yeah, I like that there's some the variation. And last, I did the same thing but in reverse for the black. Basically just added a tiny bit of red in. I wonder if we can compare this with one of the just black yarn sets. Ooh, yeah, it's definitely a little bit more red, and this one's a bit more blue. The dye Raven, which is the black, when you wash it out of the yarn, it bleeds purple, so I'm thinking there's probably some blue in there, so that's always something I have to work around when I'm trying to do a goth, dark version of a color. So oddly enough, when I I found out the first time I tried to do like a dark burnt yellow, I added lemon yellow to Raven and I got green. Like, I got this gorgeous dark green, but it was not yellow, so I was like, okay, so I have to start with orange, oddly enough, and then add black, and then it's yellow. And to get dark orange and dark red, I just have to go even more red to keep the orange when I add black. The techno babble of yarn. I love talking about this, so hopefully you enjoyed you know, hanging out and seeing my yarn and listening to the process of dyeing stuff. I love sharing it. So thanks for being here. I will have updates soon about stuff like the giveaway, which I'm still working on, and like hopefully some merch. Like you may have seen the portrait of Banros that I'm doing that I mentioned earlier. I don't usually draw. I'm not that great at drawing animals, but like it came out so cute. So I will definitely have to draw more of him. So yeah, speaking of goats, have a goat day. It's time to goat. Goat bye.